Hey there, I thought today I would do a little bit of a different video with you. I've been working on a book series called Whimsical Watercolors and How to Draw. I am currently working on edition 3, which is going to be Wonky Woofers. This is preceded by Widow Women and Wacky Whiskers. And I've gotten a lot of questions on my reels that I've been posting on Instagram showing how I'm using this little tool to enhance my watercolors and add shading. And today I thought I would take you behind the scenes and do an expanded reel just for my YouTube audience to show them how I'm getting such awesome results. And it's so freaking easy, it's gonna blow your mind. You ready? All right, I'm gonna turn my camera around and show you how I'm going to create and shade this a Wonky Woofer. And all this is going to be in the books along with 16 different doggies and puppies that you can draw that are whimsical and fun and so easy to make. All of them use one of the Prima sets, and I did this just for convenience sake. I had most of them. I just had to grab a few more. It just made it easy for me to like flip through, get inspired by my different color palettes and land on one. So that each one is really different, and that way too, I actually just scan in my actual samples, as you'll see in the books. These are my actual scans of my watercolors too, so that way if you don't have that palette, you can still totally see exactly what colors I used. So hopefully that makes it easy for you. And then everything is, there's broken down into 4 drawing steps. So figures 1 through 4. And then we watercolor. The reason I did this book is I wanted watercolors to be easy. There's such this myth, I'm so tired of it, that like watercolors are so hard to control and like don't let them control you. I'm just so tired of it. They are not that hard. This is quite literally what inspired all of these book series, is to show you they are easy. They are playful. You can use them seriously, of course, but you can also use them in really fun, playful, short projects as well. And then coupled with all these other art supplies, they can become really powerful. So let's dive right in. In case you have questions about the other supplies, I always do the first drawings in pencil, and then I go over the steps with my big fat Uniball Signo. It's nice and dark on my scanner so that you can see all of my drawing steps in the books. And then for figure 4, which is this stage, which is the final drawing, I always use my Molotow fine liners. So, okay, we have our swatches. I always leave my swatches right here so I can make sure I'm on track and grab my paint. I have my water. I have beads in my water to help them clean faster. All right, so I'm going to open up my Decadent Pies. I do have these swatches in here too, but I like these for myself. This, by the way, is just a little horizontal watercolor pad. Okay, so this way my swatches are oriented exactly lined up as my paint, so there's like no doubt. I also have a big roll of paper towels. I actually leave my paper towels in a roll and I use them like this. So I'll show you my process. I do not use a palette. I wanted this to be like literally quick and easy watercolors, like so anybody could do it. All right, so this is how I do it. I was just using inks yesterday, so I need to make sure my brush is nice and clean. I use Polina Bright brushes, which I love. So I got my brush really wet, and then I just doinked it off on my paper towel so that now it's no longer like soaking, it's more damp at this point. So this is pumpkin, and this is the first time I'm like activating it. So I'm gonna put my brush in the water one more time, and I'm just gonna like squeegee it around here because I wanna make sure it's a little bit liquefied. Okay, I'm gonna make his whole kind of belly. Okay, I'm gonna run it over his toes, and I'm gonna run it down his big belly. Now, I want his arms to be the green, so I need to dry this because watercolor goes where the water flows. So if there's wet here, that's where my green is gonna mash into my pumpkin color, which I don't want. So I have to kind of dry his arm off because I want that to be a separate color. Now I'm just taking that wet blob, since I have it there, and I'm gonna make his nose this color too. If we want to kind of mop that up, because it's a little too wet, I do have a loose piece here. So I'm going to dry my brush, and then I'm just going to literally touch it. This is hot press paper, by the way, which is not very absorbent. A normal paper is cold press, and it's textured, and it's like super absorbent. Watercolor paper, I love for these illustrations. It's really smooth, so when I scan it and I use my pens, it's really smooth and slippery and easier to draw on. And it also has a more staining effect. So it's a little bit more, when you put a mark down, so you see how this is like finite? It has a really, really hard edges. And this piece I just yesterday, it's like really blendyful. That's kind of the biggest noticeable difference between the hot press and the cold press. If you have cold press, just use what you have. All right, so I just used my dryer brush to literally suck that up so it just wasn't quite so wet. Okay, now I want to do my little green part, and I want to do green everywhere else. And I don't do any color mixing for any of the animals or women or anything. And there's a lot more editions coming, by the way, of different things. I think my next one I might do wistful wigwams. Have been itching to do some houses. And I can't believe I haven't done this color combination with how many little critters and things I've used, again, with this color palette. It's so unexpected. I want to write Prima a letter and be like, "Dear Prima, whoever came up with your most random assortment, I really appreciate. Good call. I'm using your Decadent Pies. I don't understand it, but I can't stop using it. Signed, me." All right, so I'm going to do green. Oh my God, I love this green. That's probably why. I am definitely a green blue girl. More so than any other colors. I used to be orange obsessed for my whole childhood. I was born in '76, and it was just always the color of my childhood. All my furniture and my bedding and my curtains and everything growing up were always orange, and so that is always, but as I get older, let's do this belly green too. I need more of this green in my life. Come to think of it. So see, I'm just like literally chucking it around. It really is not serious. Boop. If I need more, I'm just touching it in the wet spot. This is as fancy as we get around here, folks. And then, oh my God, I love it so much. He's so cute. And it's blending with that other color. That's fine. That's great. It's all good. Oh, you know what I do want to do, though? Add a little... Where is my pen? Couldn't find my little Molotov little thing. I know I want to throw a highlight on this, and I'll show you that too. So I just wanted to make sure that we had a little like surface to put a highlight on later. All right, so I'm going back. I'm just adding the tip of my brush into the water, and then I'm just going on my palette. Yes, that is a technical term. Or do his whole head in this key lime. Actually doesn't really look like a key lime. I'm obsessed either way. So I'm just scrumbling it to boot. Super blase, getting my brush a tiny bit more wet because I just can feel it kind of running out of juice. And then we're just gonna color all of his head in. And we're just gonna skirt around his eyes. Whoop. I'm really kind of using my paintbrush like a little pen or a little pencil. And for this, that's just perfect. It's fine if it's pulled up in places. It just adds to the whimsy of the piece. If it's, you know, a little wonky, that's fine. All right, and then his nose, I think I'm gonna make his nose that blackberry, which is just this, the dark blue. or we could do the pecan. See, there's so many choices. The blue is pretty flippin' cute. See, oh, it's getting a little juicy again. So, can you see how juicy it is? It's just really hard to dry when it's that juicy. So again, I'm gonna nothing fancy here. I'm just gonna get the water out of my brush by tapping it onto my paper towel, and now it's gonna like suck it up. And you can not only suck it up, but you can just steer what's left around his nose cutely. Boop, boop, ba-doop. Shoop. Okay, now I'm gonna wash my brush and change colors. His eyes. Ooh, we can make his eyes. What colors? I wish you were here. I would ask you in person. We could do his eyes. The apple would be cute. Let's do the apple. Or pecan. Oh my gosh, there's so many choices. Or the blueberry. Oh crap, there's so many good choices. I'm gonna do apple. Okay, we're gonna do apple eyes. Boop. All right. And then we have to let all of this dry. And then I'm gonna dry this, and then I gotta go run up to my scanner because we just did figure 5 for the book. So this is what they look like. So again, with that, when I started the video, I was at figure 4. So this is the stage I'm at right now. So I need to take a quick scan of this. You'll see this guy in the book later. And then we're gonna bring him into fruition to get to the final stage. All right, so now we need to make, this is where the shading happens, and this is where the fine tuning happens. So we always make the bottom of whatever it is, whether it be a house, a building, a building is a house is a building, or, you know, a cat, or whatever it is, the bottom will be more shaded. If it's a creature, always the neck is always shaded because the face is, I only know this from doing 8 gazillion portraits, the face is always going to be casting a shadow on the neck, so that's going to be dark. So bottom here, dark here, and then I love to do under the ears for the same reason that under the chin, or the muzzle, same reason. So you have 2 choices. One, you can just do the same exact color again. Doing 2 coats will make it darker. And that's what I'm going to do for the super ease of this demonstration. And I might add a little bit of that black, the same dark as the nose color we used. And then the third way is the way is really the purpose of this whole video, is to show you how I use my graphite pencil to do that. So you can use graphite under watercolor, works amazing. And you can also use graphite over watercolor, also works equally amazing. I do have a whole other video on black wings and why I love them. I can refer you to that in the description box. Just trust me when I tell you, if you want a soft, buttery, luscious drawing experience, grab a Blackwing. They are not cheap. They are amazing. I actually have a subscription to Blackwing. I get a giant box every quarter because I cannot get enough. So here, I just put a second coat down and around his bottom area. I put some on his back legs because those are back, so they're quite literally receding. It also helps his forearms stand out because they're not shaded. And then I'm just going to go in and add, I'm like really trying to darken it under his little ear flappies. And then, like I said, his little neck. All right, and he's looking adorable already, and we haven't even gotten to the little shady McGee part. I also want to darken his nose a little bit. It's really flat. So anytime you don't have any areas that are lighter or darker, it's just flat. And we don't want flat. Even though these are cartoon, we want them to still be cute and bring them to life. So again, I'm just dabbing my damp brush straight into the color and straight onto my palette. They're for everyone, so just use them and you'll do great, trust me. All right, so I'm putting a second layer of the same color, blackberry, over, and I've just left like a hole on top where it's still the first layer. It gives it a highlight, and then we'll add an actual white highlight on top. Now, if I wanted to really darken up these areas, I would actually also put in some of this blackberry, but I don't want to put too much in because I want to show you how the pencil really does its magic. But in case you don't want to do the pencil or you're scared, I just want to show you can also just do the darkest color in your palette on top of whatever you already have. And that is fine too. And I always like kind of trust, like, hey, the people at Prima put these colors together for a reason. They must go well together. Really just put my trust in them. All right, we put some way down here at the bottom. That's just that blackberry. And I can't wait to actually add this guy to this video I'm going to make all about Decadent Pies, my ode to the random palette that is the Decadent Pies. All right, cool. So now we have to dry this. So the big thing about using graphite over watercolor is it cannot be wet. That is a disaster. So I have a little hair dryer here, and I'm just going to dry him real quick, and then we're going to come back and do our magical shading. All right, so when you're done blow drying it, just quite literally touch your paper and make sure that it is all dry. I do quite a bit with the Blackwing shading. So this Blackwing is just it's a whole thing. Like I said, I'm using the same exact one for every single book character, no matter what it is. And it's a Blackwing matte. Super soft. It's equivalent to about an 8B. So if you have a pencil set, just grab a soft one. That will be just perfect for you. And I'm just gonna scribble scrabble in the same dark areas that we put those same paint colors as before. So remember what I said? We said under the ears. I'm gonna do the nose itself, but on the bottom of the nose rather. Well, now there's a lot we can do for the eyes as well. So I'm also I'm doing like little mini circles. Just lightly. It's such a soft pencil, it leaves a lot of graphite behind, which is why I love it so much and why it's so easy to work with. So I'm just doing little baby circles. If I wasn't filming, I wouldn't actually be doing it like this. I'd probably be reorienting my paper, but for your sake, your viewing pleasure, I'm trying to keep it neat. Okay, and we're going to scribble scrabble under the neck. And we can scribble scrabble on the inside of this arm a little bit. And up under here again. Now we did a really good job with a watercolor already. I gotta say, I'm impressed with our work so far. But we're going to kick it up a notch, this whole shading business. We can also even get like its toes. And what happens is this is what I call laying down graphite. We're literally like laying it down on the paper. And then what's going to happen is that our blending stump is going to get so good and dirty that we're going to be able to like moosh it like everywhere else. So I'm going to also put some under the nose. Okay, and you can get blending stumps of different sizes, but I actually just end up using the same one for everything. It's become my favorite. It never leaves my table. So here we are. So this is my favorite. We just use the side. You do not use a blending stump like a pencil like this. You actually use it the broad side of it. So you're going to turn it on its side. And just like we did little circles around the eyes, we're also going to do little circles around our little blendy blend. Okay, and I love this satisfying little sound it makes. You can also come in and add a little to the white of the eyes as well. So it makes it kind of dingy, but like that's kind of what we want. Little cartoon baby. So we're circling his eyes. And we can add a little bit of that into the white. Even the human white doesn't have all the white of their eye actually white. Okay, we have under here. So this big honking nose is going to cast a shadow like on his little muzzle. We can even put some over here. So the more of this grungy, graphite-y stuff we put down, the more dimension this guy evolves to have. And it's cool because the watercolor still shows through really well. I still love this little watercolor stain, but you can just add this grunge for the dimension part of it, and it just works really well for all these animals especially. And you can even use it to like correct some things. Like that was a bit abrupt. There was like a line there from when it had dried. So I can actually just scribble scrabble some graphite here and then smooth it out. It's also cool if you go out of the lines, you can actually just erase it back with the amazing Blackwing eraser that comes with it. And after all the little dark parts. Now I might go in with my super teeny one because these toes are tiny. But you can also, this is maybe when I would use the tip gently, because you can, even that I actually won't. I'll turn it on its side still. And you're going to weasel a little shading on all sides of them. Just makes it look more realistic. You might be thinking, why do you need to be realistic? It's a completely made up dog. Well, even made up dogs can benefit from a little dimension. So there's like a little shadow behind his arm. So cute. I can't take it. All right, so that is all the little shading we're gonna do, but we're not done yet. There's two more moves that I like to make. One is if he needs any little hairs poking out. Actually, this is a little abrupt as well. So I'm just gonna even add some more shading there to kind of scrub them up a little bit. We gotta make them a little rough around the edges. So the other thing I like to do is I like to use these are micro brush sign pens by Pentel. These are my other absolute favorite art supply, and I use them in a ton of these as well. This is all in the books too, by the way. And so I like to take these. Ooh, I might even use this like gray one if you're feeling shy, to give them a few loose scraggle muffin hairs. Okay, and the gray is actually adorable because you can hardly see it, which makes them somehow even more adorable, if that's even possible. All right, so we can just put these suckers wherever you want, but the gray, I haven't actually used the gray yet. I always use black, but it's actually so cute. You can have them like some of the animals I get really carried away with. He's a little messy oh, he doesn't even have a name yet. What should we call him? Let's see. We're going to make his pupils a little bit bigger because that way when we put his highlights in, they're going to show up more. So I like to use, this is a Uniball Signo pen, and for me the only one that works is the like big 1mm nib, or else it just never works for me. And I like to put some highlights on the nose, and that's all the other the highlights we need. And so he's ready. Now we just need to come up with a name. Oh, but very last but not least, you gotta give him a ground. He's gotta have a little ground to sit on. What color? It's gotta be from the same palette. I'm gonna use that blackberry again. I like to do a big old swish under them, kind of get it nice and concentrated, and then we do a swish to the side. And that's it. Ta-da! And when you buy the book, you'll learn what his name is. It'll be on Amazon, and I'll let everyone know when it's ready. Thank you so much for arting with me today and helping me make my little guy. I'll see you later. Bye!